Hi, welcome to Movies Worth Watching. I'm Jacques Benoit for Athabasca University.
And I'm Mario Trono for Mount Royal College. Tonight's movie, The Fast and the Furious, a Vin Diesel vehicle. Speaking about vehicles, this movie is about street racing. I'm not giving anything away. It's that from start to finish. Get it? As I was watching this, I started to think about the German existentialist philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who said at one point that life is a straight line and a goal. Street racing, you can see, that's all the lives of these characters boils down to, this straight line and the goal of winning. There's kind of a tribal culture that seems to have developed in street racers, and I think the movie captures this adequately, whereby the tribe sets up its own honor code system based around betting, the winning and the losing on the street racing, right? But also there's a patrilineal element in this film. By that I mean everything comes down to the son from the father. The matriarchal daughter side of things is relatively inconsequential. Women are rather traded around like prizes over the winning and losing. And there's the honor code overall that whoever wins the race has to pay. And this kind of tribe sets up its life legally outside the law based all around this one activity that defines their whole life.
Yeah, and what that amounts to, essentially, is the subculture.
It is a subculture,
The subculture is something that movies have investigated on a regular basis. Movies about things like street racing are almost part documentary in a way. We want to find out more about the subculture that's going on in our midst right now that we only hear about on the news when some people have been arrested or races have been busted up. But films have looked at car cultures, motorcycle cultures, surfer cultures, and the idea is that we're attracted as an audience to these smaller cultures because they are more communal, they are more family-like. They offer us something like a family in a sense. And it's something that in our large civilization and culture, I think we still long for. It goes back a long way in our who we are. And the other aspect is, which you alluded to, is this whole idea of, well, not only that, we get to admire these guys for breaking laws. They're rebels in a way that we can't be in our everyday lives. We get to live through them vicariously.
It makes life passionate and simple.
Yeah.
You know who you are, you know what you have to strive for, you know what you need to do, and you know what rewards will accrue to you. Yeah, it's a simplified version of society down to its basest elements. Yeah. And then you can just enjoy it for what it is, and there's no doubt, there's no complexity.
Well, when you say basest elements, I think of it more as its basic elements. I mean, because the family feeling that we get from these characters for each other is kind of interesting. We would want to do what the main character does in here.
If you're feeling in a fairly base mood and you want to go downtown.
I like to drive. But you know, this is just it. It appeals to that aspect of us that wants to cut loose.
Yeah, well, to be sure.
You know.
To be sure. Well, see what you think. Cut loose with it, because it's a fast drive. So get the seatbelt on. Hope you enjoy it. Talk to you after. Now, if you're going to insist that it's more basic.
The following program deals with mature subject matter and is intended for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, I'm Mario Trono from Mount Royal College. Welcome back to Movies Worth Watching.
And I'm Jacques Benoit from Athabasca University. The other thing that I think this movie represents, aside from subcultures, is the whole concept of, well, the motif that you'll find in a lot of literature of going native. The character who gets involved in whether it's a subculture or another entire culture, and becomes somewhat absorbed by that culture. You'll see it in the movie Donnie Brasco with Johnny Depp, for example, and his character. You'll see it in Dances with Wolves and Kevin Costner's character. And it's this idea of becoming so engrossed in the group that's supposed to be the enemy, you come to understand them and you finally realize what they stand for, and also realize that some of that is what you yourself stand for. And that's what happens with our main character here as he becomes absorbed in the family-like atmosphere and has to betray them for this other group, this other subculture, if you like, police culture. The people in which he doesn't necessarily enjoy working with. So you get this guy who's addicted already to speed, and he finds that he can't fulfill that part of himself as a cop. He needs this subculture, and he runs to it in the end.
The cop turns into a criminal because he falls in love with a sweaty street punk and likes to strut with him. This is what's weirding me out about this movie. But I'm not going to get moralistic and high Victorian collared on you or anything. Well, yeah, okay, I did a little bit, but I'm going to retrace my steps. The movie captures, I think, make no mistake about it, movies feed us easy answers. And one of the things we have trouble with that we might need answers for is far easier to have fidelity for a friend, for a family member, than to an abstract concept. So the cop has the law that he has to abide by and the like, but he's created a human bond and then finds it very easy to function outside the law. Well, I think this is a problem that faces people from time to time. My bond to a friend, I'm looking at Jacques here. I don't know if we're friends yet. We argue too much. But my bond to a fellow human being might be stronger than to an abstract principle of the law. And that's what you see the cops succumb to here. But that could be just dangerous American individualism, irresponsible. I wonder if Japanese film shows us stuff like that.
It's not American individualism. It's American communalism. He decides that the community he's a part of with the cops isn't as vital a community to him as the one that he's offered with the street racers.
Well, I guess.
You know, so it's that balance that you find in American films between the individual making deliberate choices